I don't want to fight age, and I don't want to look 20 years younger because it's not possible. And I don't want to be wearing those clothes that I can't wear. I mean, there is a grace in being your age, and there is a pleasure in acceptance. But with acting, I felt like it was a little beyond me. That it's something that I could never really wrap my head around because there are better actors than me. And I think you also need to understand the harsh reality of what it means, because it's a game. But it's a game that can end any day. So if you understand that, you never really get into the game. You know, just a day job, and you treated it like a day job, sort of. So I guess it kind of kept you immune. But who looks at your gender when you're on a job? A job is a job is a job. Go do your job right, otherwise go home. Someone said this to me. They said, just type in your name, see what comes up. I see marriage, I see sexy pictures. You know, it's an absurd Google searches, and I'm like, wow. I've never thought from a man's perspective. I think 40s is cruise mode, because you actually begin to understand the truth about yourself, what will happen and what won't happen. Just calm down. Sort of calm down. And you actually enjoy life more. I think I live better. I feel I live a better life than I did during my high celebrity years, you know, traveling, whatever. I live a more relaxed life. I eat what I want. I don't even care whether I fit into a pant or I don't, because it really is not important in the big scheme of things. I think it's almost like we don't even talk about the age barrier. We have to be ageless. That's why you have Shah Rukh and Salman still romancing and dancing around like they're like 20 when they're 50. But this is a disease of the culture. It doesn't make any sense to me. With women, it's worse. You have to look permanently frozen in time. How is that possible? I had once just gone along for a shoot. I was studying for some exam, and it was Atul Kasbekar, and so this was some catalog shoot. There was Meghna, there was Malaika, and he saw me standing in the corner and he said, listen, just pose. I said, are you kidding? I'm like, no. He said, come on, now don't be such a spoilsport, just pose. So he made me wear a salwar and stand, and he said, can't do anything with your body. It's like you look like a lump, like a potato. I said, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with my hands. He said, don't worry, can you smile? I said, yeah. He just took every shot was a smiling shot. So that was my first catalog, some Burlington's catalog, and it was kind of crazy because there was no plan. Meghna was interested, she was the only one who was keen. I was a reluctant model, then onto a reluctant video jockey, which was even funnier. It was Farooq Chotia who took me aside one day and said, listen, he says, as your friend, I'm telling you today, he's like, make up your mind in your own head. Don't be such a snob. The business is with you. He says, why don't you just embrace it, because it will embrace you right back. I took his words to heart and I didn't look back. So it was really interesting because I had a really good stint, fashion, ramp ads, and it was this really strange journey of how these things kind of fell together. So it took me a long time to acknowledge to self that I could actually be in this business and that it was something tangible and real. But once you're in it, it's like any other profession. You have to get it right. You have to do what you need to do. You have to work on it. And so then when acting fell into my lap, I'm like, okay, I will do this as well. So everything, training, dancing, diction, dialogue, acting. I did 2 films. But then by then I felt that I don't have the aptitude for this. At some point, after overcoming my confusion or my lack of conviction about me as a modeler, like me as a video jockey, I think I managed to crack it. But with acting, I felt like it was a little beyond me. That it's something that I could never really wrap my head around because there are better actors than me. And I think you also need to understand the harsh reality of what it means, because it's a game. But it's a game that can end any day. So if you understand that, you never really get into the game. You never brought your stuff home, because in your 4 walls, my parents ran their own pharma companies, so it was a very different environment. So all our heirs, so-called heirs, were left at the doorstep. You came home to a very normal life, which I think makes a huge difference, because it was just regular stuff. Just a day job, and you treated it like a day job, sort of. So I guess it kind of kept you immune till you kind of leave the business, and then it's like I'd walk into just entering regular day-to-day stuff and whisper. People point, People will say something so you can actually hear them talking about you, and I'm like, wow. I said, they actually think I'm interesting enough to talk about. I said, this is fascinating. You actually never get around to handling male attention. I was in a bubble. At any given point in time, I had no idea what was happening outside my bubble. In a way, I'm thankful, because if I understood, maybe I would not have been able to manage, because it's a lot. The attention is there, a lot of it is unwanted. People dress for attention. Forget about our line of work. People dress for attention, people dress to look good, and people crave attention. You literally fight the attention because it's not the kind of attention that you want. A lot of people told me later, around that time, I was trying to say something to you, I found you attractive. I was like, I'm so glad that I was living in La La Land because I didn't know. I was also ready to get into, wanting to like take the first step into production. And it was almost comical because I realized overnight, my gosh, my wardrobe needs to change. So all the tight pants went out, all the tight fitting shirts went out, and all the loosest clothes you can possibly find. Who wants that kind of attention from their production teams? Are you kidding? I mean, then they're not looking at you, they're kind of seeing you in a totally different way. So it also came out of wanting to get people to stop seeing you as a in front of camera object. I think we don't have enough female producers in this country. So when you say, hey, I'm a female producer, it takes people a long time to understand that you have to be hard as tack. One of my production heads was from, again, I don't want to take the name of the state, but he was from a middle India state. He actually told my co-producer that I can't talk to her. Because I was talking to him genderless because I'm running the setup, but he didn't want me to have a conversation with him. Not because I didn't know how to talk to him, because he couldn't accept taking orders from a woman. We still fight those kind of things. And then there's a subtle game that goes on at other levels. It's there. The pandering, the don't like women talking to you like in a certain way. But who looks at your gender when you're on a job? A job is a job is a job. Go do your job right, otherwise go home. But I think we're a long way off from that ethic, which is why you still have glass ceilings for women. Starts in their head, starts at work. So we're a long way off. I think we're better off for sure, but we're still miles to go. And this is me talking for urban India. Finally, both my sisters opted to marry people from outside the business. Meghna, of course, because she lived abroad for so long, married a Greek citizen. She lives abroad. She's lived abroad for the longest chunk. So they're so far removed from your life here. Sameera, it was really tough. But she was very clear in her head. She told me years ago, she's like, I would never marry anyone from the business. Fair enough. How do you find someone outside the business who can see you for you? It's very tough to extricate the whole thing around you. Hullabaloo, the press, the shenanigans. Then also having them believe what you say. Because every second day you open up the papers, there's some new dirt on you. Like someone said this to me, they said, just type in your name, see what comes up. I see marriage, I see sexy pictures, it's an absurd Google searches, and I'm like, wow. I've never thought from a man's perspective, but what must happen to him when he types that in, because he can't even verify what he's seeing or saying. You're caught between the devil and the deep sea. If you go out from people from the business, well, to my mind, there's no break from work. You take your work home. Fair enough. Let's face it, by virtue of being so-called celebrity, you've been exposed to a completely different lifestyle. You kind of go and live a certain life, you live in a certain way, you have a certain set of friends. How do you go out there and technically get together with ordinary Joe? Who could be anyone. The guy could be king of his castle, in his own domain, but he's not a media guy. So how is he going to even, how are your worlds going to ever overlap? How do your paths cross? I think men in our line of work are more understanding because they live the life. They understand the crap that goes with it. Which is also why a lot of girls from the business end up with men in the business. Where are your after hours to go meet real people? I've forgotten even day-to-day life. I resent putting one iota of powder because it's years of being just tired. I'm tired of having cake on my face. I'm tired of having stuff in my hair. And I'm tired of dressing up. So, coming back to my old joke, pay me. I'll be like, and they're like, how offensive. How can you say things like that? I'm like, pay me. I said, make it worth my while. I'll think about it.
Govinda came about a year after me, but he was launched as a hero. Like I said, when I came on, then they didn't look at you somewhere. Can we make him a hero? I don't know. We don't know. I had a car in college जो मैंने मेरे फादर ने आधे पैसे दिए थे, 11,000 की गाड़ी थी. Also you were young and the whole thing put it. नहीं अभी यार तुम ट्रेन में नहीं जाया करो, तुम गाड़ी में जाओ, तुम स्टार हो. ठीक है यार, थोड़ा वो रखना पड़ता है. ट्रेन में जाओगे, perception which still holds. आप कौन सी गाड़ी में हैं? It's a sad thing. That's the way the world operates.